Hey guys, what's up? It's Josh here, back with another Kansas City Chiefs related video. And today, I wanted to discuss the possibility of the Kansas City Chiefs trading for Xavien Howard. So, as everybody knows, the Miami Dolphins star cornerback Xavien Howard is currently frustrated with his situation in Miami. They're having a contract dispute, and that has warranted many Chiefs fans saying, could we trade for Xavien Howard? It seems like a stretch. It seems really far-fetched that the Chiefs would be able to make another big move, such as trade for Xavien Howard. But there is no doubting that he would make the secondary better. But how realistic is it? We'll get into that right here in a minute. So, yeah, Xavien Howard is available. It's been reported that he's not happy with his situation in Miami. Xavien Howard is widely regarded as one of the best cornerbacks in the league. He's having a contract dispute with Miami right now. So he's actually, I want to say, the 5th or 6th highest paid cornerback in the league, which is pretty good. He's making around, $15-16 million per year. So he's already paid pretty well. However, he wants to get paid more. And, I'll say, personally, I feel like this is a little petty coming from Xavien Howard. He wants a pay increase. He feels like he deserves more money despite signing this huge 5-year contract only a year or two ago that already made him one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the league. But it seems like he's, getting a little greedy and wants to be paid top dollar, not just in the top 5, like top dollar, highest paid cornerback in the league. And look, I'm all for players getting paid what they're worth, but if you thought that you were worth more than that, you shouldn't have signed the contract a year or two ago. And to me, this sounds more like Xavien Howard's excuse for wanting to get out of Miami more so than wanting to be the highest paid cornerback in the league. Now, I'm sure he would still like to be the highest paid cornerback in the league, but there's just something fishy about this. I feel like it's a little more than just the money with Xavien Howard here. So that's just one of my personal concerns with Xavien Howard and his disdain with the Miami front office right now. So, could the Kansas City Chiefs trade for Xavien Howard? They could. Yes, they could. It would take a lot of maneuvering to be able to fit him under the cap. Like, for example, Xavien Howard's base salary for 2021 will be around $12 million. The Chiefs don't even have $12 million in cap space currently, so they couldn't trade for him right this moment because they can't even fit him under their cap number for this year. However, if they are to extend Tyrann Mathieu, that would allow them to have enough money to trade for Xavien Howard and maybe figure out something later. Now, the issue with this is that we don't know when the Tyrann extension is coming, and that was the only way the Julio deal was going to be able to be possible if the Chiefs were interested in Julio, is they would have had to extend Tyrann Mathieu so they could actually fit Julio under the cap for next year. They didn't do that, and it was reported that the Chiefs weren't all that interested in a Julio Jones trade. I know we all dreamed about it, but they didn't do it. But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs, they would be strapped for cash. Now, they already made... It seems like every year the Chiefs make that one big splash. Last year they didn't really have a splash. They just kind of brought everyone back that won the Super Bowl. But then they lost. We saw how badly they got embarrassed. They went out and they made a couple splashes. And the Chiefs, they're always capable of making a splash every year or so. But they already made a splash this year. They made a couple of splashes. They brought in Joe Thuney with that huge 5-year deal. They traded for Orlando Brown, who, by the way, still is waiting for his extension. But, the thing with Brett Veach is that there's always a way to make a player fit. He's always said that if you're not looking for a way to get the best possible players all the time, then you're not really trying. There's always a way to get these guys. And I mean, look, there's a way for the Chiefs to save money. Frank Clark, for example, if there's a way to get out of his contract in the coming months, I could see the Chiefs doing that and saving a lot of their guaranteed money that they have going to Clark and using that for a possible Xavien Howard deal. And even if they don't void the Clark contract, it's more than likely that they're going to cut him after next year. That'll save them, if it's a post-June 1 cut, upwards of, $19 million. The Anthony Hitchens money is probably going to come off the books soon. So, I mean, there's going to be ways that the Chiefs can save money to the point where they can fit an Xavien Howard deal under the cap if they wanted to. Ultimately, though, I don't think the Chiefs trade for Xavien Howard. In fact, I think the people out there suggesting it might be a little crazy. Like I said, the Chiefs, they already made their splash move this offseason. I really don't think they're going to go for another. He just wouldn't. I mean, there's too many players that they still got to pay. They still got other stuff that they got to figure out. And they've just never shown that they want to invest highly in corner, although I disagree with it. And although I think Xavien Howard would give them one of the better corner groups in the league, I just don't see it happening. I mean, it's not just something that the Chiefs do. And again, like, I kind of disagree with it. I think Xavien Howard would be great to add to this group. I got a lot of questions. Like, I know a lot of people are projecting Mike Hughes to be something. Like, he barely did anything in Minnesota, could barely stay healthy. They were going to cut him if the Chiefs didn't trade for him. Although I still think he has a little bit of potential that the Chiefs could tap into. DeAndre Baker, I loved that acquisition, but we just don't know a whole lot about him. I'm not a fan of Charvarius Ward, and he's projected to be in the top 3 of that depth chart. So, like, I have questions, and adding Xavien Howard, a proven commodity, would be great. I just think he's a little too expensive. And then you got to increase his pay if you trade for him. So I'm just not sure how that would work. It's cool to fantasize about, kind of like the Julio Jones thing was, but I mean, Xavien Howard would be more expensive than Julio Jones even. But yeah, I mean, I just don't see it. It's really a shame, though, because Xavien Howard, he's been insane with creating turnovers. He's a really good PBU guy, too. He had 10 interceptions last year that led the NFL. He had that cool one-handed interception on Mahomes in the Miami game last year. I think he had like 8 interceptions the year before that. Like, could you imagine the offensive scores that the Chiefs could put up if they had a guy like Xavien Howard just creating so many turnovers for them? You know, could you imagine if the Chiefs secondary were to lead the league in interceptions? Because Xavien Howard could definitely take them to that level defensively. So it's something cool to dream about. I just don't see it happening. Plus, what kind of compensation would you give up for a guy like Xavien Howard? Like, that's someone that is going to take probably a haul of picks. I know Brett Veach has valued his draft picks. I know he's traded a lot of them off. He traded off the 1 first from this past year and some other picks for Orlando Brown, which was a big move, although it had to be done because they needed a left tackle very badly. And then they had the Frank Clark move a couple years ago, where they gave up a first and a second. But Brett Veach has still said that he wants to keep a balance where they're not just throwing away their valuable draft picks every year for guys that they got to pay. Like, they want that cheap labor on roster. They got to continue to supplement this roster with more youth and talent. So I just don't see why they would do that either in that aspect of things. I just think they need to hold on to more of their draft picks, and I think Xavien Howard would require a lot of draft compensation. I've seen a lot of people, come up with stuff where you trade Frank Clark. Guys, no one's taking Frank Clark's contract, and if they did, you would have to include probably another pick with that. So, yeah, all that being said, a trade for Xavien Howard is highly unlikely. However, cool to think about. But all that being said, make sure you guys leave in the comments your thoughts if you agree, disagree with anything. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and kckingdom.com. Peace.